Hey guys, Jason Timothy here, musicsoftwaretraining.com, back with another video. And today I'm going to get into why you should strip down all your equipment to the bare minimum if you're not currently finishing songs. All right. So what I mean by this is I have a lot of students that have loads of, hardware and software equipment, and they're still not finishing songs. And the fact of the matter is most of the equipment they have, they don't really know how to use incredibly well either. So the less you have to think about, the less choices you have. The less choices you have, the faster you're going to move. It's kind of why a place like In-N-Out Burger, if you've ever been there, they've only got like 3 choices. You got a burger choice, fries, and a drink. It's pretty much it. They kind of got a secret menu or whatever, but the menu is very simple for a reason. It gets people to make decisions quicker. If people make decisions quicker, they can move through more people, right? If you get to make decisions quicker, you get to move through more songs more quickly. If you've got 1,000 bass sounds to choose from instead of, let's say, 10, which do you think is going to lead you to making a better decision and a faster decision? What I'm doing is I'm suggesting that you strip everything down to just your computer and your mouse, your computer keyboard, right? Now, there's nothing wrong if you've got a keyboard, with the notes or something set up and you know how to use it. If you don't yet know how to use it, then just use your QWERTY keyboard, all right? Or just enter in the MIDI notes. The thing about it is less choices means that you know exactly what you're going to do. You don't have to think about, well, am I going to do it this way or that way or whatever. So once again, less to think about, less choices, faster movement. Secondly, there's no need to learn more equipment in front of finishing your songs, right? So if you've got a piece of equipment and you're telling yourself, well, I bought it, I've got to use it. So you're sitting down and what are you doing? You're spending all your time trying to figure out this piece of equipment, which may or may not improve your workflow, all right? So that's getting in the way right now of you finishing songs. So what I recommend is you take all of that away, take all those options away so that you are just using the bare minimum. Once again, less choices, right? And less to learn. You don't need to learn something new. If you've got 1,000 synthesizers or even 100 synthesizers, most of those I guarantee you don't know how to use. And you probably haven't dove into any particular synths deep enough to really get the most out of them, right? So, a lot of the tools you have, you might not even need. You might actually be able to do more with 1 or 2 pieces of gear than all the other stuff, right? So that's another reason is because by producing without all these decisions, you get to figure out how far you can go before you really feel the need for something new. You might not be finishing perfect songs, but you're finishing and using the tools you have. And every time you finish a song, you're learning something new, okay? I'll reiterate this as well, is that it keeps you focused on a single task, all right? And that single task is take the song from start to finish. Once again, everything else can be a distraction. And if you're not finishing songs, you've got something in the way that's a distraction. And this is just a way to strip that away. All right. Another thing is you're going to discover, once again, which tools are actually useful for you. Because what you're going to do is you're going to find a gap when you're using less stuff. You're trying to push the equipment you have as far as it can go. And you're going to maybe find yourself saying, hey, it'd be really cool if I could do this. This would really speed up my workflow, right? And coming from that angle is much better than you buying like an Ableton push and thinking you're going to do everything in the push now, right? You might only find that you move faster with a few different techniques in that piece of equipment, right? You might actually find, like I do, that 80% of the time, a mouse and a QWERTY keyboard actually is faster for you, right? But, a lot of times you want to use a piece of equipment because you feel kind of cooler using it. That was my problem in the beginning. I bought all kinds of controllers, 3 different controllers, and because I think I wanted to look like I had more. I wanted to look busier. And actually, I've got these controllers originally for DJing, right? So I show up at a gig. I've got these 3 controllers, and not a clue what to do with them. It was actually kind of overwhelming, and it actually hindered my ability to DJ, because I had gotten pretty good at just DJing with, my CDs and moving into using Ableton for certain things as well. So this actually slowed me down, and I didn't like that. You know, when I was like put up against it and performing live, there wasn't really much I could do with the controllers. So what I did was I stripped away all the controllers, everything, and I just DJ'd one, because I was DJing a couple times a week. I just DJ'd one night with only the laptop, literally. Like I'm having to hit buttons with my finger and type in keys and stuff, which, you know, that's not too cool. It's not really what you want to do. But what I would do is I'd have like a list of things like, yeah, it'd be really cool if I could do this with a controller. It'd be really cool and helpful if I can do this. This would be a lot faster. And then when I had this list of things that I wanted to do, I figured out what piece of equipment was going to be the best tool to do those things. So a couple weeks later, I brought in one piece of equipment. And I knew exactly what I was going to do. You know, I set it up, you know, beforehand, you know, some of the knobs and stuff like that. But essentially, I figured out what I needed it for, and I used that piece of equipment just for that thing. I didn't try to learn it top to bottom. I tried to figure out what I could do with what I needed, right? And then after a few weeks of DJing with that one piece of equipment, I started thinking, oh, you know, it'd be really cool if I could do this, but the current controller I have isn't capable of that. But I got this other controller that I could do that. So I figured out a purpose for the next piece of equipment. That's kind of the way that you want to look at your production, is you want to find a situation where you run up against something and you say, it'd be really nice if, and then you could figure out what piece of equipment will actually do that job for you. That way you're not just scrambling and grabbing everything that looks cool to you and never figuring out how to use it, all right? Next, I recommend that you add tools slowly, so that you can get used to what they're best at doing. And then once again, when you kind of come up against something, maybe you need that piece of equipment to do something more for you. And maybe it's capable of that, right? That's when you should learn that. And if a piece of equipment you have is not capable of that, that's when you might want to look into another piece of equipment or another synth or another tool, you know, another effect, something that's going to get that job done that you've run up against. If you haven't run it up against a problem, then you should still just be focusing on finishing your songs, you know, because once again, no one cares what you do behind the scenes. All people are able to judge you by is what you finish, right? So that is another aspect of why you should start by stripping everything down. And yeah, you can also become much more aware of what pieces of equipment are actually a crutch. In other words, you're procrastinating on finishing your songs and you're making the excuse, well, I can't finish this work right now because I got to learn this. I got to learn the machine, or I got to learn push, or I got to learn my native instruments complete and all the things inside it. I've got to learn this new synth. Whatever it is, you're using that as a distraction from finishing songs a lot of the time, right? So you want to make sure that you're not getting new equipment as a crutch because you're trying to avoid finishing songs. And it's like an unconscious thing. You're probably not even aware of it, but maybe me mentioning this, you'll be able to go, oh yeah, that's probably something that I do fairly often. The next reason is that this teaches you more than anything that the most important tool and piece of equipment you have is your own brain. And that whether you're using a lot of tools or only a few tools, your sound is your sound. You're still unique. Without that specific keyboard, without all that stuff, you have your vibe and your sound. Once again, there may be pieces of equipment that will assist you with that, but you won't know until you strip everything down. That's my topic today, and I hope that you got something out of this, and I hope that if you are struggling to finish songs, that you really consider stripping everything down and starting with the bare minimum. You know, there's a lot of producers, you might be surprised, you know, a lot of big producers that still, they don't even use controllers, and they have, you know, very little equipment, and they're still using just a keyboard and a mouse. Just something for you to think about. I hope you're able to take something out of this, and I'll talk to you guys real soon. Take care. Peace. Hey guys, thanks again for listening. And if you like this type of content, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell and set it to all posts. Don't forget that you can read my best-selling book, The Mental Game of Electronic Music Production, for free by going to musicsoftwaretraining.com/The Mental Game. You'll also get my song recovery kit and my 101 Ableton tips video totally free. If you'd like to connect with me more directly to see how I might be able to help you personally, you can schedule a free 15-minute session with me by going to musicsoftwaretraining.com/application and answering a few quick questions. Happy music making, and I'll speak to you real soon.